Jesse Lee Show. Oh, oh. Jesse Lee Show. Oh, oh. The Jesse Lee Show. Oh, oh. The Jesse Lee Show. Jesse Lee Show.
What's going on? It's me, Jesse Lee. Thank you so much for pressing play on the podcast. The first one of 2026. We're back, baby. New year. Same dick jokes, probably. I might pepper in some new ones. I don't know. If you are new around here, though, please be sure to bang your head on that follow button, that subscribe button, drop some comments, leave 5-star ratings, do all that jazz. Start a mosh pit down there in the comment section. If you're new around here, what we do every week is we go over some of the biggest news stories in rock and metal, and I read your comments, your hot takes from you, the Jesse Legion. So if you want to be a full-fledged member of the Legion, one simple thing to do, actually two, you gotta bang your head on the follow button, and also drop a comment for next week. Give me some input. If you want to be featured in next week's video, drop your hot takes, drop your questions down below. Maybe we'll read them off next week. All right, our first story, the main story of the week, the Ronnie Radke, Brittany Furlan Catfish saga has continued on into 2026. It feels weird starting the new year off talking about this story. This story was obviously pretty big viral news last year in May, and now this seems to be the first big news story of 2026. I mean, it kind of feels like when you leave your Christmas decorations up too long and you're walking around the house looking at them like, oh man, it's late January. We still got that tree up. We still got I'm not that kind of person. I take my stuff down right away. I don't know about you, but January 1st, that shit is coming down. I'm not taking that old 2025 junk into the new year with me, but apparently Brittany Furlan is. Apparently she's bringing this into 2026. She's setting these statements that she wants this to be the last of it and she wants to move on. But unfortunately, she brought this up and now it's been made into big news again. If you're unfamiliar of how the backstory of this, it's a lot to get into. But back in May, Brittany Furlan started a relationship with someone online posing as Ronnie Radke, the frontman from Falling in Reverse. Brittany, of course, is married to Tommy Lee, the drummer from Motley Crue. And at the time, she was convinced that it was not a catfish situation, that it actually was Ronnie Radke behind all these messages and these DMs. And after a while, it's sort of after Ronnie defending himself and showing proof that it wasn't really him. And then on the last episode of her podcast, it did seem sort of like she was accepting the fact, like, okay, like she kind of went into everything that was going on with her marriage and how she was at a low point and this person reached out to her and they knew so much about her and her relationship. But it did feel like in that podcast episode, she sort of accepted like, okay, I was catfished by a fake Ronnie Radke, and everything sort of moved on, And then this year, just a few days ago, the revival, the Brittany Furlan, Ronnie Radke Catfish revival of 2026. We always talk a lot about resurgences in the music industry. A lot of genres come back. A lot of artists get back together, reunite. I didn't expect a revival of the Catfish saga. Honestly, I thought we were past this, but a user on TikTok posted a video which has since been deleted, and it was basically just poking fun at the whole situation, taking jabs at Brittany for being catfish. And she commented on this post saying, "Okay, if there's one thing I'm not going to do, it's be lied on. Same guy who said he didn't have Snapchat. I have all his phone numbers. Let it go. Let us both move on in peace, please." So that riled up the whole situation again because obviously Ronnie Radke wasn't going to let that go. He wasn't going to be dragged through this again. Brittany was posting on her stories, sharing proof that it was Ronnie behind the Snapchat account. Ronnie reacts with his own videos showing that it's not his Snapchat account, that he didn't even make that account until May after this whole initial catfish drama. Brittany then says there's an Instagram burner account that has been harassing her and her friends, and she believes that's Ronnie, and she shows proof by saying that the account is blocked on her other profile, but not on her main profile. And the account that it's blocked on is also blocked by the original Ronnie Radke number. Or I'm sorry, by the original Ronnie Radke account. And the reason why is those two numbers are tied together. It's very confusing. There's a lot of back and forth. It's all being done through Instagram stories for the most part. It's her posting on her Instagram stories with screenshots. And it's always just like the screenshot is there, but it's covered up with some of her text. And then Ronnie screenshotting her story and sharing his story with text over her text. It's very jumbled, and it's very hard to follow. So then Ronnie Radke's sharing these screenshots on his Instagram story of Brittany Furlan, and she's allegedly trying to coerce his fans and people who have been stalking him, to say that he contacted them when they were underage and trying to sell the story to TMZ. Again, it's very muddy. It's hard to follow because there's so many. It's just completely being done through Instagram stories and the 3 series of videos that Ronnie made on Instagram. I would just play the videos for you because you would think that would kind of condense things a little bit easier. He made 3 to 5 minute videos explaining these situations and rebuttaling all this. And I would just play those videos for you. But as of now, as of today's date, January 6, 2026, Ronnie's Instagram has been taken down. His Instagram isn't even there anymore. And he had 2 accounts. He had Ronnie Radke, and then he had Ronnie Radke. And both have been taken down. The Falling Reverse Instagram is still there, but the Ronnie Radke accounts have both been removed. I don't know why. I know yesterday it came out that TMZ acquired some reports that say that Ronnie Radke filed a harassment restraining order against Furlan. And I don't know if maybe because he filed this restraining order, maybe his lawyers advised him to just remove himself from social media at this time. Furlan's legal team did respond to the restraining order. They said, "We are aware of the restraining order petition that has been filed. The claims being made about Miss Furlan are not accurate. Our legal counsel issued multiple cease and desist notices in May after what we consider to be a pattern of harassment, bullying, and false public statements made about her. Those notices were acknowledged, but the behavior continued. Ms. Furlan will respond through the court process and hopes the matter can be resolved peacefully. No further comment will be made at this time." All right, so let's see what the Legion is saying about this. Erica Lauren 89 on Instagram said, "Bringing this up again in a whole new year is wild. Girl, take the L." Yeah, like I said earlier, just bringing this up out of nowhere again, just months later in 2026. Like everyone had forgotten about this for the most part. Like I even did a story. I did a recap video of the biggest, craziest news stories of 2026. And when we talked about that, I was even like, oh my God, I forgot that was this year. Like so much shit happened in 2025. I mean, this was a huge story in 2025, but people have moved on. People move on from everything. For most news stories, people move on from, especially a whole year later. So she could have just not responded to this TikTok video and not brought it up again, not drudged the whole thing up again. But in her defense on this, if she is still being harassed, and if she truly 100% believes it really is Ronnie Radke behind it, then she has a right to say something, to bring it up. If she, I mean, again, I'm trying to play devil's avocado here. If she believes she's being harassed by Ronnie Radke, she has a right to bring it up. Whether or not she actually is being harassed by Ronnie Radke or anyone for that matter, well, that's up for the courts to decide, or maybe the court of public opinion. And of course, I can see if people are making posts about it constantly ripping on her and dunking on her online, she does feel a need to defend herself. So in that side of things, I can see why she would say something. But also, again, you don't need to do it publicly. You don't need to bring this up and make it a whole big news story again. Barrel Trash Goblin on TikTok said, didn't he make a song about this type of situation? He didn't make a whole song about it. He made that song All My Women with Hardy. And there's a scene where they reference Brittany and the whole catfish situation. I don't believe the entire song is written about that, but yeah, he definitely references that in the music video. Mackenzie Nevermore 1031 on Instagram said, petition for Ronnie versus Brittany to come to a full head here on your show, Jesse, so they can duke it out in person. Yeah, I made this joke in the video. I did a recap of this whole story on TikTok and Instagram yesterday at Jesse Lee. And yeah, I mentioned jokingly at the end that, you know, Ronnie and Brittany, just come on the Jesse Lee show. Let's, you know, have it out. Let's air everything out. I don't think we need to duke it out. I don't think there needs to be any fighting. I think we can have a real conversation. You know, I can fly wherever you guys are. We can do it in person. We can do it over Zoom, however you feel, or Riverside, which is my podcasting platform of choice. But yeah, in all honesty, like if this is gonna keep continuing on, keep being a news story and being something that they keep going back and forth on, it would be nice if they would kind of either get in a room together or have some kind of moderator. I mean, I guess that's what a courtroom is for. I guess that's what a judge is for. But right now, the whole thing is just so confusing, back and forth. Again, the whole thing being told through Instagram stories and Instagram videos and no actual direct contact with each other. The crazy thing is they're communicating back and forth through their Instagram stories because they're screenshotting each other's shit and putting text on it and writing back and forth to each other, but they're not actually directly communicating. I feel like a lot of things might be cleared up if we could just have them both in the same room together, but I don't know if either one would want to do that. Next order of business, Bad Omens will not release a new album in 2026. I know, you're gonna have to go cry into your Bad Omens metalcore shaped pillow. I'm sorry to bring the bad news to you. I mean, it's not 100%, but Bad Omens fans are anticipating a new album in 2026 because we've been getting a ton of new singles from the band, and they've talked in interviews that they're planning on, they're working on a new album. They don't have any details for it yet, but they are working on it. But, I mean, Noah Sebastian might have just kind of put a lid on the excitement a little bit. Last month, Noah was being interviewed by Kerrang! Magazine, and this interview made its rounds last month when it first dropped with a few of the blurbs and the snippets that he said in this interview. But this end of the interview, for whatever reason, wasn't highlighted. I just stumbled across this yesterday. But at the end of the interview, the outlet said that the exchange ended with news that may cause some heartbreak for fans expecting the next Bad Omens album to make an appearance in the next year. So Kerrang! Said, "What 3 words have summed up your 2025? And Noah responded, "No new album." Kerrang! Then followed up with, "And what 3 words describe what's to come in 2026? Noah responded, "Still no album." Now, it just could be just messing around, joking around. He could have just been like, he could have said this with a laugh. Kerrang! Didn't say in the interview, they didn't add like any editor's note, like, you know, Noah laughs when he said this, or Noah was joking. So it does leave you wondering, is this just a joke? Is he trolling us? Is this a little little jab at fans that he knows are waiting for a new album? Or does he really not see a future, or does he really not see a 2026 with a new album from Bad Omens? CD Budworth on Instagram said, "I'm a little surprised at that considering we've gotten 4 new singles recently." Yeah, we got 4 new tracks from Bad Omens towards the tail end of the year, honestly, in 2025. Which is a pretty hefty amount of singles already. So for them to put out 4 singles and then not drop an album, I mean, they would at least have to put out some more singles in 2026, but to drop 4 in pretty much like the last quarter of 2025 and then stretch out however many singles you're going to put out in 2026, I mean, that just seems like a lot of singles and a lot of space in between, but it's possible. They could theoretically be going the singles route for a while, but I don't think that's what's happening because they've said that they're working on an album. And honestly, Bad Omens just seems like an album kind of band. I'm not 100%. I don't 100% believe that he's being serious in his statement. I think he's saying like, you know, there was no new album in 2025 and like 2026, still no album. You know, I really don't believe he's being 100% serious on that. I think we are probably still going to get a new record in 2026. Aaron JM8 on Instagram said he literally said in an interview in the fall that they were finishing up an album and they're taking their time, so it's great and perfect. Yeah, again, he said in multiple interviews in the past few months or so that they are working on a new album. They have a record. Again, he could be lying in those and being serious in that Kerrang! Interview, but I don't think that's the case. I do think there's a new album on the way. Coach Mac 11 on Instagram said, "What comes first, new Bad Omens album or GTA 6? I think probably the new Bad Omens album, honestly. I kind of hope they never release GTA 6. I hope GTA 6 never happens. I hope they somehow skip over it and just go to GTA 7 and GTA 6 never comes out. That way this meme, this joke never goes away. You know, because once GTA 6 drops, you know, what then? You know, like what joke? What are we gonna do? We need a backup. You know, we need something else that we can say like, oh, what comes with this or something before GTA 6 is. You know, that whole thing is it's become a cultural milestone. You know, in our society, we need the GTA 6 joke to live on forever. So I say they skip over GTA 6, go straight to GTA 7. The 110 on TikTok says, "My Delulu thinks this is a self-marketing stunt to drop an album called Still No or something like that." Yeah, he said 2026 to describe 2026 in 3 words, still no album. Maybe the album's called Still No. Still No, the album. That would be clever. That would be that would be some real, I feel like that'd be some reverse engineering. I feel like you would have to really plan ahead for this interview and everything to line up that way, but it's possible. Des Blunts on Instagram said, "Okay, but I'm hoping this is a marketing thing or publicity stunt because no way they're just going to throw out 4 new singles at us and then not an album. I think it's just a joke. I think he's just trolling a little bit. I don't think he's being serious when he says no new album. I think he's just saying like, I know everyone's waiting for a new album. I know people are hoping for a new album in 2025. So it's just a joke like, still no album." That's probably not funny to diehard fans that want to hear a new album, of course, but I don't know. I think it's pretty good, haha. All right, it's time for your scroll stopper of the week. Every day, I'm doom scrolling. I'm trying to find some good quality brain rot content to distract me, to pass the time, and I like to share the best ones I find with you here on the podcast on the Jesse Lee Show. And usually it's a 60-second clip on TikTok or Instagram, but this one actually comes from an outlet called Jenkin Mag. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. I apologize if I'm not. I'm just discovered it for the first time. But they tracked down the girl, the iconic, the woman on the iconic cover of the Deftones album, Around the Fur. And the whole video is about 10 minutes long. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I suggest you go watch it. But we'll watch the part where they actually talk to the model. I mean, she wasn't even a model as far as I know, but we'll talk to we'll watch the part where they actually talk to the woman herself.
I have the CD, but the vinyl is great. I've been signing a lot of these lately for some of my daughter's friends. Like, yes.
Damn, that's crazy to see.
To me, I was kind of oblivious of who they were. I always knew a lot of people around the area, and so I'd always go to after parties after the bar closed down because we never wanted to go home. We're like, let's keep doing it, right? And so I would just run into them at the after parties, and this happened to be at their where they were staying at the pool at their hotel, or I guess it was more like an apartment. And there's a bunch of people there, and we're just having fun.
Where's it mostly everyone just drinking?
Yep. My friend and I always made this
Old
drink.
school Chino photos.
It's so gross when I think about it. We called it silk panties. It was vodka and peach schnapps. Oh, it's so gross.
Yeah,
But that was our drink
gross.
back then.
Vodka.
That
schnapps.
drink that's in the photo is silk panties.
Has anyone had
Yeah.
silk panties?
People immediately recognize you on
The drink,
that,
or have you
changed
worn
in
them?
your
Let me know in the
life
comments.
after The album came out.
Just my friends knew. I wasn't out there going, it's me, everybody. But I had some cool opportunities from it, you know, because other people would say, oh, this is the girl on the cover of the Deftones, and we get into clubs because of that. Or, you know, Stephanie used to invite me to their shows, and I go
You just carry
to
the
shows
album
quite a
around with
bit
you,
after
right?
that album
To get into
release, which was really
places.
fun. I think probably about 10 years ago, someone asked me, do you ever look yourself up online? And I was like, not really. And they're like, there's stuff about you all over. And I said, really? So then I started looking into it. And then I found those articles, you know, about like being a groupie and this and that. And I was like, maybe I should just start a little page just about myself, and so people know that I'm Lisa. I'm just this awesome chick from Auburn, and I like to have fun, and there's no groupie action going on here, just me having a kick-ass time, you know? It's pretty cool looking shot, right? Like with the fisheye lens.
That is
just
funny that she
looking
wasn't even like a
down.
super fan
You know,
or
it's got
anything like that.
it's kind of risque a little bit with my breasts, and people have asked, oh, look, you got a little pimple there. I'm like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
What, does that really matter? I'm a human being. I'm not a model, and I could care less, really. That's
She's
me.
not a model.
It's just cool looking.
Right.
And if you look at the whole shot, my legs going into the hot tub, it looks pretty
Oh,
awesome.
I've never seen the whole shot
Kinda
zoomed out like that.
Something happening here, but we don't know what.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can look at it that way too. But it's kind of hard to really see what's really happening, right? Yeah.
That's what we want to know.
Yeah.
What's really happening.
What's really happening is someone having a good time, living their best life in their 20s, right?
That's so awesome. You know, she was just at a party, hanging out, having fun, and ended up being on the cover of an iconic Deftones album. I mean, I partied my nuts off in my early 20s. I didn't end up on the cover of any iconic albums, especially not in a bikini anyway. But see, Gen Z, this is why you need to go to parties and have fun and do crazy stuff, okay? You can't stay at home and crochet and scroll on TikTok and make banana nut bread or whatever it is kids are doing right now. You need to go out there and party and hang out with bands, because you might end up on the cover of an album, okay? You might be immortalized forever. You might also just be hungover the next day, but that's a risk you take, okay? It's worth it, I promise. We got another AI artist out there screwing things up for bands, making things harder for real artists out there. Knocked Loose, Counterparts, and the Devil Wears Prada have all had their album artwork stolen by AI artist named Broken Avenue. I'll put the photos up, the before and afters, or not the before and afters, but the comparisons. Broken Avenue's albums to the aforementioned band's album covers. So his account, Broken Avenue, has uploaded several songs using artwork from bands, ripping off other metalcore bands, and they're currently sitting at 142,000 monthly listeners. This was discovered by user Drop Tune Jake on X, and Counterparts vocalist Brendan Murphy actually responded to it and shared that he's offering a $100 reward to anyone that can find the contact information behind this account. He's not going to do anything crazy. You know, he just wants to talk to him. Reminds me of that Family Guy skit that Family Guy line, I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him. I just want to shoot him. I just want to talk to him. So interestingly, though, this account, Broken Avenue, they're not ripping off the music from Counterparts and Knocked Loose and the Devil Wears Prada, because it sounds more like maybe Rain City Drive, Dayseeker-ish. Yeah, for some reason, that seems to be the trend of these AI metalcore bands. They're all kind of doing the quote-unquote baddiecore sound. They're doing more of the sexed up version of metalcore. So that's even more confusing why they went the route with using the Knocked Loose, Counterparts, Devil Wears Prada album covers to rip them off. Crispy Bacon on TikTok says there needs to be a report for plagiarism. Like, I agree with you. I think it'd be great if there was some way to report the plagiarism. But again, it's just going to go to some computer. It's not going to go to a real person. A human's not going to review it. A computer's going to review it and just flag it possibly and just take down stuff that isn't actually plagiarism. And then that's just going to hurt the artist. The artist is going to have to go through, I'm assuming, some kind of appeal process so you can actually get a real person to look at it. And it's just a big pain in the ass for the artist. Again, I'm not saying that's the system they have in place, but that is a system that a lot of online platforms do have in place for stuff like this. When you make reports, it doesn't go to a real person right away. It just gets flagged and it fucks it up. Ghost Static on Instagram said, boycott Spotify. I mean, yeah, sure. Go ahead and boycott Spotify, but you're going to have to boycott Apple Music, Amazon, YouTube, D's Nuts, whatever you're using to stream music, because this artist in particular and most AI artists don't just exist on Spotify. They're on all the other platforms as well. It's something that exists across all streaming. So, I mean, you can, of course, be mad at Spotify all you want, but the problem goes way deeper than that. It's something that needs to be figured out with the distributors, I believe, who's ever distributing the music to these platforms, which is obviously the AI artists themselves, but they have to distribute it through a platform. You can't just upload a song to Spotify. You have to upload it to something like DistroKid or TuneCore or something like that. And then it goes out to all these aggregators. It goes out to Spotify, Amazon, D's Nuts, whatever. And maybe if these platforms have some more regulation, that would help keep stuff off of the streaming platforms. Of course, YouTube's not that way. YouTube, you can just upload something straight to YouTube without having to, jump through any hoops. So, I mean, we're still kind of at a loss there, but at least it won't end up in your playlist. It might be recommending your For You feed or whatever, but it won't show up on a Spotify playlist or Apple playlist or whatever. J Sky Production on Instagram says, this is whack. Let's go back to 2005 and normalize not using backing tracks in 2026. We got some crazy talent out there. The hard work and craft is what makes it special, not the cheat code. Okay, first of all, yeah, sure. Let's go back to 2005. I'm down with that. That sounds like a great idea. Comparing this to using backing tracks isn't fair, though. I mean, I know there's a lot of arguments against using backing tracks. A lot of artists don't like the idea of backing tracks and feel like it's cheating. But comparing using AI, completely AI generated music, where you're literally producing and creating entire songs by typing in a few words as a prompt and it's spitting out a full created song for you, that is so drastically not even close to being the same thing as using backing tracks live. So I do disagree with you there on that one. Serotonin. Oh, I see what you did there. Serotonin90 on Instagram said, the album covers are literally almost exact rip-offs. Ridiculous. Yeah, I am impressed by how brazen this person is that they didn't even try to hide it. I mean, they just completely ripped off these album covers. It almost doesn't even look like the album covers themselves were AI. It almost looks like they've just photoshopped the actual album cover and just made it a little different and put it out, because obviously they're using AI to create the music, but I wonder if they even used AI I'm sure they probably did use AI to make the album covers, but it's like they didn't even try. They didn't even try to change it up. You think you would tell the chat GPT or whatever, like, oh, hey, can you change the colors a little bit? Can you try to mix it up a little bit? I mean, it's like the whole meme, like, hey, copy my homework, but just don't make it obvious. The Trike Gamer on TikTok said, can you do a video on the Hollow? I believe they are an AI band, and I would like to spread the word. Let's look into them. Let's check it out. Oh, yeah. So this band actually did pop up on my Spotify homepage just a few days ago, probably because I'm researching all these AI bands lately. I'm going through finding these AI artists and, trying to basically out them essentially. And maybe Spotify's like, oh, you love AI music? Well, we'll show you some more. We got plenty of AI bands for you to check out. So yeah, this band, The Hollow, has 293,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. So they've released 6 songs since July, which is actually not too crazy. I mean, it's totally possible for a band to release 6 songs since July. So if they are AI, at least they're not going that route where they're dropping like 30 songs in 1 month and making it completely obvious. They're trying to hide it up a little bit. Their TikTok bio reads, "The hollow exists in the in-between, a shadow world that mirrors our own, where silence and memories weigh heavy and only music cuts through." Sounds pretty AI-y so far. Step into the in-between. Get early access to new music, member-only discounts, free merch giveaways, and more. Patreon, they got Patreon here. Alt-rock, post-grunge, handwritten lyrics echoed through the digital ghost. AI tools used in production. So from that bio, I would interpret that they write music, they write the lyrics, and they use AI to create all the music around it, and maybe the vocals. Let's check out the Instagram here. So the Instagram page is a lot of posts with no people in them, no actual person. I hate to give a potential AI artist any listeners here, but let's check it out. That's the only way we're going to know.
They never will. Opening the box to see what's inside.
All right, so that was the track "Open the Box." Let's listen to a few seconds of another one here. "The Only Cure." Let's check that out.
And I'm begging this poison.
So the vocals sound a little robotic, a little AI here, and also we need a new term instead of AI, because that doesn't make any sense. I don't think that's a good technical term to use, but we're gonna use it for the time being, AI. But also the vocals don't sound the same on both tracks. It sounds like almost like a different singer on each one, which would make sense if it was AI. I mean, listen, in the bio, the person straight up admits to using AI. They say that it's enhanced, or what do they say here? AI tools used in production. So, I mean, we do know there is some AI at hand here. There's no, photos or videos of a person from this, at least from the stuff I'm looking at here. So just based on all that information alone, I'm guessing what this, the Hollow's doing is hopefully they're at least writing the lyrics. They're going that far with it, and they're using AI to create the music and produce all the actual music itself, the vocals and the instrumentation and all that. But the lyrics are written by this person. Still don't love it. Still don't like it. I don't love that approach. But I mean, you do you listen to what you want to do, I guess. But I would prefer taking these lyrics and finding a real band to perform them with. But, to answer your question, Trike Gamer, yeah, it looks like the band is, again, at least somewhat using AI. I don't know whether they're 100% completely AI generated. Don't know for sure, but there's definitely some AI trickery involved in this song, in this music. All right, let's wrap things up with some questions and some hot takes from you. Each week I post on my Instagram story at Jesse Lee. I want to know from the Legion if there's any other things that we need to talk about, any questions, any random hot takes you want to hit me with before we close up shop here. So we're gonna get into a few of these. SJ Sidekick said, "Lifetime VIP and band tattoos are a gamble that the band won't eventually get canceled. My fear." Yeah, that's a real one. The lifetime VIP, not so much. I don't really know of any. I mean, I guess some bands do lifetime VIP. I've never heard of a band doing that. I'm assuming it exists, but I would never buy a lifetime VIP. I don't think for any band. But the band tattoos, that is a big gamble. You got to really hope, because you can get a band tattoo and the band can go on to release some real duds of albums, some real clunkers. That's why it's usually safe to get a tattoo of a band that, is, maybe unfortunately not around anymore because they're not live. So there's no chance of them ever releasing any bad music. But even if you have a tattoo of a band and they release a bunch of bad albums afterwards, it's not like you can't still appreciate the tattoo because you appreciate the records that you did love, the ones that you did get the tattoo for. If they get canceled, that's kind of a bummer too. That's something that's hard to argue. Like anyone that has a Lost Prophets tattoo right now, I'm assuming you either got it lasered off or you just really cover the shit up as much as possible. Maybe you cover it with another tattoo. I don't know if anyone is out there just brazenly showing off a Lost Prophets tattoo. If you do, let me know in the comments. I want to know what your life is like. I want to know how things go for you. I want to know what kind of comments you get. I have a couple band tattoos. I have a Motion City soundtrack tattoo up there. I've got a Nirvana tattoo again. I got the heart-shaped box again. Nirvana not likely to get canceled anytime soon. With Kurt Cobain not being around anymore, unless hopefully no crazy things come out that he did back in the day. I'm hoping we're past any potential of that happening. I've got Blink-182 referenced kind of tattoo here. I don't think. I mean, those guys are pretty zany, lots of dick jokes, but I don't think they're getting canceled anytime soon. Hopefully. Oh yeah, I got a Death Cab. I got more band tattoos than I thought I did. I guess I got a Death Cab for Cutie tattoo right here. Follow you in the dark. Again, Ben Gibbert's a nice guy. He's yeah. I want to believe that he's a good dude. I want to believe that he's not going to get canceled and do anything creepy or weird. So, but yeah, I agree. Like back to your point, it's a gamble. You might have a sweet tattoo for the rest of your life that reminds you of bands you love, or you got a regret on your arm. It's a risk you take. Cayenne Rich said, "What's your take on a band created by AI, then later hires artists to perform?" Don't love it 100%. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the Hollow earlier. If that person's writing the lyrics and creating the music, I wish they would just go that step further and actually get a full band to perform the tracks. Maybe they don't even have to sing. They could just, be in the band. I get that's a lot easier said than done, but that's kind of the point. Making music isn't supposed to be super easy. It's supposed to be a little bit of a challenge. There's supposed to be a little bit of a barrier of entry to create art, I feel like. Like actually learning how to create. But yeah, I don't love it, but that's better than the alternative of completely AI generated music. I know Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath, I know that he is using AI to create his solo music, where he's using AI to produce the vocals, and then he's later going to hire an actual singer to perform these songs. He's using it in the writing process, and then eventually going to bring a singer, which does seem like a pretty unexpected move for Geezer Butler. I mean, the dude's is 76 years old, something like that. Obviously one of the founders of heavy metal from being in Black Sabbath. I'm just surprised to see him fiddling around with ChatGPT or Grok or whatever he's using to create these tunes. Not the way 1026. Next concert you're going to see. I'm not 100% sure what the next one is. I have to check my concert calendar. Everything's kind of up in the air after the holidays. I'm so glad we're back in business here. I love the holidays. I love being with family, spending time. But anybody out there in the Legion knows, if you got kids, that Christmas break isn't really much of a break. I'm never busier or more stressful than when my kids are on break, or when I'm supposed to be supposedly on break. There's no downtime. It's way crazier when they're home from school. So what I'm getting at is I haven't even looked at what concerts are happening this month in January. Usually I try to look at the month and see what I can go to, what I can attend. I do know 3 Days Grace is coming at the end of February to Cleveland, so I'll probably try to hit that one. Ghost Bandit DJ said, favorite wrestler, Stone Cold Steve Austin, baby. I got the Smoking Skull tattoo. Speaking of tattoos, got the Smoking Skull tattoo right there. Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin, 100%. Not even gonna think about it. He actually just dropped a great interview today on the Chris Van Fleet Insight with Chris Van Fleet podcast. Did a full interview on there, and Stone Cold does not do very many interviews. I know he had his whole podcast that was going on until about 2020, but he himself doesn't do very many interviews. So it's pretty cool to hear a full sit down with him and get some insight. I didn't even mean to do that, but yeah, Stone Cold, that's the answer. All right, that's going to do you. That's going to do it for today. Again, be sure to bang your head on that follow button, that subscribe button, wherever you're consuming this podcast at. And please be sure to drop a comment or question, hot take, whatever below. That's how you become a full-fledged member of the Jesse Legion and get featured in next week's episode of the show. But above all else, no matter what you do this week, be sure to share this podcast episode with somebody that doesn't suck. All right? Take it easy now, and bye-bye.
The Jesse Lee Show. The Jesse Lee Show. The Jesse Lee Show. The Jesse Lee Show.